Happy Friday, everyone. Vicky tried to jump the camera, but I was ready. All right, so that didn't work this time.
I told you.
Because I'm starting to catch on to your tricks. Anyway, all right, so today we are going to do some carving, do a little routing, a little sanding. I'm going to show you a couple different things with router bits that is a little bit different than what I've done in the past, how you can use different router bits for different things. So first things first is, babe, if you can scroll down here, here is our Christian set. There's 10 of them here for the month of March. So these will be on the website sometime before the end of, probably Monday-ish. Yeah, check on Monday. They might be up sooner. If you want this set before then, or any of these individuals, just email Vicky with davesigns@gmail.com. So what we'll do now is we'll tear this setup down, come back, do a little layout, and then fire up the router and get some routing done. So we will be right back. Okay, so I'm going to use the Marsh ink for the spray on this. I could use a Rust-Oleum, but I'm going to use the Marsh ink for the layout. So we're just going to, remember, you want to have just a kind of a light touch with the spray. You don't need to spray it real heavy. Just a nice, light, even touch. Yeah. We'll let that set for a few minutes and dry, and then we'll carve it. Okay, so we're going to start carving this. So as I'm going to do a couple different things. I'm going to use several different bits. The first one I'm going to use, that I'm going to use on both of these, is the 60 degree. This is our 60 degree V-groove in the little rigid router, which I generally keep that set up in there all the time. So I'm going to carve one. I'm going to carve them both inset, but both a little bit different. So let's get my cheaters on here, and we'll get to going. So now, even though this is the 60 degree, you can still do a lot of really fine detail with this cutter. There's many times where I would do fine detail like this, like on the soldier, I would do with the profile, or even the SC50 in some cases. But remember, the 60 degree at the tip comes down to a pretty fine point, so you can carve some pretty fine detail with a 60 degree. So here we go. Now, I don't know if you guys noticed, but when I went in here and did some of these really tight spots, what I ended up doing is lifting the router just slightly so that I could get into some of those tight areas. So as I came here, I kind of lifted one edge of the router base just to kind of narrow that line a little bit. Then when I got back over here, then I brought it down to full depth. So that's just kind of a little trick that I've learned over a period of time, that you can kind of lift that router bit a little bit to get into tighter spots. So that's done with the 60 degree at that depth right now. Now we'll go ahead and do this dove here. Wow, some tough grain in this cedar. As soft as this cedar is sometimes you get a board that's got a kind of a tough grain in it, and this is one of those. I've got to go in here and kind of shape up a few of these lines. I don't like the way that looks. But it's going to be all right because this is all going to be cut away. I'm going to do a real fat line around there with the, and this is going to be inset stuff that I'm going to do with the 90 degree. So hang with me, guys. Okay. Now I'm going to adjust my depth. I'm going to use that same cutter, and I'm going to go down a little bit deeper. I'm in probably about 1/8 of an inch right now. I'm going to go down to, well, let me use my guide, and I can tell you my depth gauge. Try to get this on camera. That's 1/8 of an inch. I'm going down to almost 3/16 of an inch. I'm using my little router depth gauge. Yeah, almost 3/16. That should be just about right for what I want to do here. I want to go inside of this design and get it, clean some of that stuff up. So now what I did in here, I knew that when I go back and use my 90 degree to take all this out, there wouldn't really be enough room to get in here. So I went ahead and took that out with my 60 degree. Now, some people might not like that rough look in there. That's what I personally like. But if you had an 1/8 inch straight bit or something, you could flatten that out and make it flat background. I happen to like the more texture, the better I like it. But that's just my personal preference. You can do it, you know, however way you want. I do want to go around this little piece too to give myself a little bit more room when I go in with that 90 degree bit, which I'll be doing in a minute here. Okay, now we're going to move on to this one. So I'm going to do, now when I went around in here inside the soldier, not only did I take that out, but I gave myself a little bit of an extra room, or what I call a buffer zone, so that when I go in with my 90, I won't be so likely to hit those edges in some of those spots. So now I'm going to do the same thing over here on this one. Okay, now I'm ready to go back in there with the 90. So let me change routers here. I really don't need my little extra light on that one. We'll just keep rolling. That's the 90 there. Got it. All right, so this should go pretty quick here. You gonna be able to get in on this one, babe?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. I think I will use that little light. I can see all right, but you guys might not be able to see as good as if I had the light on there. So let me put the light on this one. I don't know if I've ever used a light on this big 618. Let's see how this works. It doesn't want to grip real well. Let's see.
I can see good.
Can you see it okay from over there? All right. Yeah, let's give it a shot here. Okay, I'm going to get my brush out and we'll brush this thing. Then we'll come right back and spray this and see how it looks. Okay guys, so again I am using the Marsh ink, and this is probably one of the biggest mistakes that I see, guys, is people overspraying when it comes to spraying in that black. And this is cedar, so it's not a huge deal with cedar. Cedar doesn't have a tendency to bleed. However, if you're using pine, it does. Now, I know, and I don't know, how close can you zoom in on that, babe? If you look in this area right here, and you can see in some of these areas, there's some spots that aren't as dark as other spots. However, that when we sand this off in a few minutes after it's dried and we sand it off, you'll see that those spots won't even show up, even though they look right now. It's kind of an optical illusion. It looks like those are going to end up being lighter than the rest of the black in there, but you'll see when we sand it off that it won't make any difference. So when you're spraying this stuff, don't think that you have to really spray that thing heavy and get it all in there, and everything has to be jet midnight black. It just doesn't. So anyway, we'll be right back and we'll sand it off. All right, let's blow it off. Okay guys, so you can see that those areas that looked light before, they're absolutely as black as any of the other parts except where I need to touch that up. I'll need to take my Sharpie and touch those up a little bit. But this kind of gives you, this is something that, you know, normally speaking, if you guys have been watching me for a while, normally if I had detail like this, I would be using the profile bit or the SC50 even to do some of this fine detail. But you know, if you don't have a profile bit, that 60 degree will do it. It just won't go as deep. But obviously you can do some fine detail with the 60 degree bit. So don't think you can't do the detail with a 60 degree, because you absolutely can. Now, could you do that with a 90? No way. There's no way you could get into those tight spots with a 90. You just couldn't do it. But with a 60 you can. So that's kind of why I picked these, and I wanted to do these the way I did them so I could show you. I never used a profile bit anywhere on these. It was only the 60 and the 90. Okay, now I'm going to show you what the rest of these things look like carved. Okay, so yesterday I carved all of these. These are all 10, and I carved them the way I carved them. Some of them inset, some of them outset. So we got 3 of them that are actually outset, and the rest of them are inset. The dove, the way the dove was, this is the way I carved it to begin with, and I carved it the opposite way, and then I carved the soldier. I carved him inset here, and he was outset when I carved him yesterday. So that's what I wanted to do, and I've done that kind of before, kind of show you 2 different ways. So any of these can be done inset or outset. Vicky and I were talking, and we kind of like the insets. I think the silhouettes look a little bit better. For instance, in my opinion, this looks much better than the outset. They both still look good. The thing that this does give you, and it looks a little bit bigger, even though it's the same size, because you've carved it outset. And this allows you to go back if you want to paint the surface with some of the paint pens or something. It does allow you to do that, whereas if it's inset, it's much tougher to do. So anyway, guys, I hope you guys liked this. I hope it was helpful. Remember, you don't have to have a profile or SC50 to carve detail, because that 60 degree will carve detail as well. It just doesn't go as deep. And again, I wanted to show how even those places that looked... Oh.
No, hold it up.
Oh,
there.
Like that?
Yeah.
Even those places that looked light when we first sprayed it, when the whole thing was black, you can see it makes no difference at all. So don't be in a hurry to overspray that black, because it really makes no difference. You know, you can have some light spots in there and they don't show up. So there you go. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it was helpful. Just give you kind of some different perspectives. So we're going to wrap this up, but there is one thing I wanted to show you. When we were in Minneapolis, when we met with our people in Minneapolis, we had a little mini meetup there. We met, one of the couples that we met was Mike and Mary Okerstrom, and Mike made this for me. He's a terrific sign carver. In fact, they've got a great story. They've been carving signs for years and years and years. He's obviously a very good sign carver, but this was really special. He made this for me, and I couldn't bring it back on the plane, so he ended up shipping it to me.
Some jam.
Yeah, and Mary made some jam and sent it to us. I think there's plum. I know there's strawberry rhubarb.
And there's apple pie.
And apple pie, yeah, 3 or 4 jars of jam. So thank you so much, Mike and Mary. It was so fun to meet you guys, and this sign is definitely going to go someplace special. So I love it. I absolutely love it. Along those lines, Wednesday's video that we did the other day, I shared a couple success stories, and I'm getting a lot of feedback that you guys really seem to like that. So we're going to start a new a new segment. Yeah, that's a good word for it. A new segment, maybe once a month, sharing success stories. So here's what I want you guys to do. If you've got a really good success story, or you might not think it's a success story, but send us your stories. I want you to email them to Vicki directly. You can email them to me too, but Vicki's going to be kind of handling this. And once a month, I think we're going to do a coffee and questions, maybe with an extra success story kind of mixed in. So send us your success stories. Her email, vickywithdavesigns@gmail.com. So we want to hear your stories, and I think everybody else does too. So send us your success stories. I'm really looking forward to this new segment. So again, I hope this was helpful. We will see you guys again on Monday morning, and next Friday we may have really a special, maybe a special collaboration going on. So thanks for joining us, guys. Thumbs up if you like this. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Share this as much as you can if you've got friends that are woodworkers that you think this would work for. And don't forget to check us out on Instagram. That's right. Make a wood sign on Instagram. The link is down below as well. Thanks, guys. So send me your questions. Send me your pictures for sign carvers of the day. And have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday morning. Thanks. Bye.